Not one of you is going back to the surface of the earth until I know who has betrayed me.
What is happening, folks? Welcome to another episode, Nerds at Night. I am your nerd, Blake Money, Blake Weather. What is everybody doing? Happy holidays. Merry Christmas to everybody. Whatever you celebrate, whatever you're into. As y'all know, I've been on a real hunker of getting into murder mysteries. I've broken down Gosford Park, broken down Evil Under the Sun, even though that's had to been re-uploaded like 10 times now. But I've been just like on a real murder mystery kick. And so I started by watching Only Murders in the Building. Oh, what a phenomenal show. It's so great. I watched all 3 seasons and I got a lot of time because I got a kid and, you know, I was in the hospital when I started that. So like there's a lot of time where you're staying up. So, you know, that's how it be. Also, so I got done with that show shortly after being in the hospital and I noticed Hulu had another murder mystery out there. It said, you might like, you know, things related to, or you might like, and it recommended me. And I wasn't sure about it. I'd seen a preview on like watching a few other things on Hulu. I like to watch Hulu. And let me tell you, it was pretty solid for the first 6 episodes. And now we're going to talk about this finale because I got some words. So let's get right into it. Everybody's trapped in the hotel. They're trapped with Andy. They're trying to make him out to be the evil billionaire, sort of evil Elon Musk type dude that's got a family. We have our sleuth character in what's homegirl's name? In Darby. Darby's pretty dope, but Darby makes some dumb choices all throughout the season, all throughout the show. I don't understand some of these, but she's sort of good. She's good enough at putting 1 and 2 together. I would say this. They bragged about her a bit too hard when on the show they called her the modern day, the millennial Sherlock Holmes.
Did you know LA Times called her Gen Z Sherlock Holmes?
Bruh, give me a break. You is not the millennial Sherlock Holmes. You kind of might be the millennial Watson, you know what I'm saying? But you is not the millennial Sherlock Holmes. With that in mind, we get to this season finale. And I'm not going to get into the whole show. I'm going to break that down in a separate video, but I want to talk about how this ended, because what the best part of a whodunit is the end, is the reveal, is the detective lining everybody up, putting them in a room, and he's like, "Hey, here's how you did this. Well, here's how you could have done this. Here's how you could have done this. But hey, bad guy, I see what you did, and here's how you did this." And he goes through this whole reveal process. And unlike an action movie, they have the big fight sequence, and it's everybody's getting in there and they throwing fists and everything. This is the action fight sequence. It's just verbal and it's visual and it's beautiful when it's done right. So let's talk about this. Was this done right? Was Murder at the End of the World, did it end right? Was it done right? Was the reveal done right? I might be on an unpopular opinion. I don't think this was done right. I enjoyed the season though. For the most part, I enjoyed the season up until the end. I think it was very easy to see that Zoomer was the one who went into Bill's room and we didn't know how. We didn't know that. So it was more of like a how done it. We didn't know the how, but we knew who, bro. You know who be doing that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't believe. Could anybody really believe when Darby was like, "Bro, maybe you could erase the footage"? Nah, ain't nobody doing that, bro. You barely got in ain't nobody else got in the camera software. You barely got in the camera software. What makes you think somebody's gonna delete it? You make it seem like all these hackers over here, they're hacking in the Pentagon and shit. That's not what's going down. They could barely get into cracking the firewall. Homegirl, and then when she did, she fucked up some shit. She killed Sean. I digress. What I'm saying though is nobody believed for a fact when Darby said, "Hey, it could have erased himself out the way." Bro, no. Well, no, maybe no. That's not what happened. So I think we all assumed it was Zoomer and that he did something to Bill, or he killed Bill for sure with the morphine. He can get anywhere. It would have made sense if he got to the medical bay because Ray's going to let him in anywhere. The reveal that the reason that I think the Zoomer part, I think that's fine. But it's the next layer of like, it's like, but why is it Zoomer? Like who is he in cahoots with? And in this case, it ended up being Ray, which is cool and all. I think it's a very like, you know, we're in the 2023 and AI and it's taking over, baby. Yeah, that's real cool and all if it works correctly. And in this case, I don't think it worked correctly. And I'm going to tell you why. It's the explanations for a lot of things. It's the setup of like, all right, let me give you a perfect example. In Agatha Christie movies tend to be if there's some sort of rich and powerful dude, and if he's real devious or whatever, he tends not to be the killer. He usually tends to be the one that gets killed. But it's never that character. It's always they set him up like they're like, bro, you're evil. You got a lot of money, and I hate you. But like, yeah, you didn't do anything. You didn't kill anybody. And in this case, Andy didn't kill anybody. When we get Lee and she gives her story in the last episode, usually when there's stories, there's always two sides to the story. So what I've loved explored is like we hear Lee's story about how she tried to run away from Andy. He's a woman beater, which is not good. Don't be doing that. But also if this was a movie, we'd get the other side of like there's some sort of gaps filled in. Like, did anybody really trust Lee? What if that wasn't the truth? What if that was just a story painted? Like hypothetically, this is in a movie that this person, they want to deviate, they want to get attention away, deter attention away from them. So they make these grandiose stories, and then I'm just going to go with Ed Cupo. He'll interview somebody and they'll be like, no, that's not the way it was. It actually was like this. You get two completely different sides of the story. And what I'm saying is I would have loved to see Lee's story, then I would have loved to see Andy's story. So that way we get a full picture to see like, is Lee lying? I think all this to say, I would have loved to see Lee be the bad guy. That's how a murder mystery like this usually would have worked. I mean, of course, we've got AI and everything. And like the whole, like, it goes from a murder mystery to like an action adventure, sort of like we got to crack the glass and then we got to make a fake bomb with a computer. Baby, come on, man. Pick what you want to be. You can't be everything. So, and I'm not saying things should live in a box. A perfect example is Knives Out is a perfect example of like there's some action in there, a little bit of action stuff. It's a little suspenseful, and then it gets into, hey, it's still it was a whodunit. It's still suspenseful. It's still a whodunit. Like at the end of the day, it comes full circle like a donut, like Benoit Blanc says. You know,
it is not a donut hole, but a smaller donut with its own hole.
I think I'm saying all this because the ending of this just didn't land. Like there was too many holes to be filled. Like there was too much missing. Yeah, I'll say this. Let's go with, okay. Bill dies, Rohan dies, Sean dies, Darby's attacked. Then Darby's attacked again in the pool. They never even went into like, did Darby just assume that it was Ray who closed the door? Like, I like there was just a lot of questions that I had. Of course we know. Okay. Bill dies because of low homie Zoomer. Zoomer killed because of Ray. He kills Rohan. And then Sean accidentally dies because of, I was just trying to hack the firewall and I shut down the AI. Bro, come on now, man. Like, I'm not saying every killing has to be connected, and actually it makes it better when it's not, because it throws you off the scent of like what's really going on. But like just for it to be like, oh, you killed him? Oh, all right, cool. It was so throwaway. This almost seemed like a full complete whodunit, but it did not stick the whodunit landing. Darby's not a great sleuth. She's a fun character to explore. She's okay. I give her like B-, C+ level sleuthing. You know what I mean? She tells everybody everything. I'm not gonna get into it here. I'm gonna do a full rundown, but she be snitching on herself, bro. You ain't gonna get no clues like that. I digress. Yeah, and then the way that the show ends with like this sort of narrative, like sort of noir, sort of narration thing going on, and then she's reading her book, and everybody's all like, it's happy. And I like happy endings. And I thought that would be a fitting ending if this was a drama, like she's reading the book of all the trauma that she just endured. That's beautiful. It's a beautiful ending, but not to this. It's not a beautiful ending to this. This was almost a whodunit. And I'll say this too as well. In whodunits, you're given clues, you're given stories, you're given all types of stuff to sort of peel back layers and find out who the murderer is, who the killer is, who the villain is. And in here, we really weren't given a lot. Besides, I think the best example is when she spoke with Andy a few episodes ago, and sort of gets his story, and like, I was here, I've got this 360 camera that shows everything everywhere all at once, type thing. But we didn't get that. And when you do, like, what would have been really cool is just the deduction of care, like a scene written in. And it feels like, what it feels like? This feels like somebody who saw some whodunits, like one of, like, more of the new ones, and then we're like, I know how whodunits work. I know how I got this figured out. And never read an Agatha Christie book, never saw the old Agatha Christie movies, which, I mean, if you watch the Kenneth Branagh ones, they're great. But to watch the old school way of, you have limited resources to try and make a whodunit work. These guys got millions and millions of dollars now to make whodunits work, and they still don't even get it right some of the times. And I think this is a good example. This was a good show up until the very end. I've got lots to there's a lot to complain about with this. I'll say this too. When it comes to murder mysteries, you can deduce who's going to be the killer based on, I don't want to say screen time, but like how much the main character is interacting with somebody. I guess it would be screen time, but if they're on screen a lot, they're around a lot. And typically also you get their side of the story of where they were on a particular time. Even if it's short, you at least know where they were. The characters where they don't do that, typically they're not the killer. They're like, they didn't do it. Perfect example would be like on since I reviewed it, Evil Under the Sun, Miss Gardner's never interviewed because she's got a perfect alibi for the whole time, right? These people, like, let's find out which characters have perfect alibis, not just be like, hey, this person's here. Not just assume. Bad detectives assume, bad sleuths, they assume. Go straight to the source and find out. And so that the people that could be it or have something to do with it. I'm just saying, like, this is the time right now at the end where you say, hey, person, here's this thing, and here's how this could have played out. Here's where you could have been, but that's not true. And here's how this could have played out. You do that a few times to sort of build attention until you finally get to the bad guy. And Ray being the bad guy, like, I see where they're going with it. And I think it's a super cool approach, and I think it could work. And it's a sort of moral ambiguity of like, who done it? Like, because machines just do what they're told, but it's like, this machine's doing what it acted upon, what it thought it needed to do best. It has thoughts, but it still has inputs. Who's to blame when people get murdered? What's to deal with AI? That's my best Jerry Seinfeld impression. But yeah, I just had this didn't feel like a whodunit in a lot of aspects. And if you watch a lot of whodunits like I have, you watch the Poirot series, I'm talking about the BBC series. Watch all the Poirots from the 70s, from the 80s, from the new Kenneth Branagh ones. See how they run. Like, watch some good Gosford Park. Watch a whole bunch of good murder mysteries. And I think you'll see that this is not this could have been a really good murder mystery. And it just didn't stick the landing. It's that gymnast that, like, when they do the little flips and shit, and then they tumble forward and they kind of fall down, and then they brace themselves and they're like, I did it. But you didn't do it. Points deducted for that. It was not a perfect landing. I don't know what I was assuming. I was thinking it was going to be a lot better. Maybe that's why I have a lot of thoughts on this. What did you guys think as far as this show goes? Are you fans of murder mysteries? And it's maybe that why, if you enjoyed it, that's why you enjoyed it, because you don't watch a lot of other murder mysteries. Because if you watch real murder mysteries, I think you will have, if you're Agatha Christie book readers, you will have problems with how the whole reveal was sort of unleashed. But yeah, that's my take on this episode. Did not like the way they ended it. I watched the whole thing, and I was like, I figured out it was Zoomer. I thought it was Lee, but my next sort of culprit would have been the Ray, because Zoomer's always wearing that damn helmet. And I sort of thought this Lee was using Ray to work to Zoomer. So I kind of figured it out, right? Remove the Lee out of the equation. It's just Ray to Zoomer. There's just a lot of unanswered questions. That's another thing murder mysteries do. They wrap up everything with nice, pretty bows. This is this is the complete circle here, a complete circle here. Like they complete the certain plot points, certain threads, certain plot threads. They complete the circles of plot threads. That's what I'm looking for. And it just didn't do that. It just didn't do that. So yeah, I'm going to do a review of this show and sort of give my ultimate thoughts. But how did you feel? What did you think? How did you like it? Write it down in the comments. Yeah, if you're a fan of any other good murder mystery shows, I'm all eyes and ears and open to check them out. Again, finished Only Murders in the Building. That's super great. This, I would recommend it to somebody, but I'd be like, just watch half of the 6th episode or half the 7th episode, and then you'll be fine. Like, you'll be fine. Don't watch the end. But yeah, if you've got any other shows like this that like, I typically don't like drama in my murder mystery, like a lot of drama. I like a little witty humor, or we can get a little silly, like The After Party. There's a little silliness in there, and I like that. So if you got any other good murder mystery shows to recommend or murder mystery movies you want to see me talk about, feel free to drop it in the comments. Thank y'all, everybody, for tuning in. Let's see what we break down next. I want to wish a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's in case I don't see you. And whether you're tuning into this morning, evening, afternoon, whatever time it is, I do appreciate you. And until the next time, I will see you. Peace.